Admiral Dan Parker floated in the command chair of the human ship Defiance and watched the Council enforcement fleet approach Earth through the darkness of space. 47 alien vessels moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with metals that seemed to absorb starlight. These ships represented the military might of a galactic civilization that had ruled space for 12,000 years, and they had come to put humanity in its place. Fleet status report, Dan said quietly to his communications officer, Lieutenant. Chris Bell, all ships ready and holding position beyond sensor range, Admiral. Quantum fold drives are charged and crews are standing by for emergence. Dan nodded and activated his personal quantum consciousness link to the other ship commanders scattered throughout the outer solar system. Instantly, he could feel the presence of Captain Steve Morgan commanding the Fast Attack Squadron. Commander Julie Hansen leading the psychological warfare ships, and 197 other human minds prepared to risk everything for Earth's freedom. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. While the Council fleet expected to find a defeated species ready to surrender, they would instead encounter what appeared to be a completely empty solar system. Earth's cities had been darkened, all space traffic had been halted, and every human installation was maintaining complete radio silence. To alien sensors, it would look like humanity had simply vanished. Admiral, Chris Bell reported, President Stone is beginning her transmission to the Council. On Earth, President Victoria Stone stood before the alien communication device in the Geneva Assembly Chamber. Her words were being broadcast across all frequencies, ensuring that the Council fleet would receive them long before they reached Earth orbit. To the Galactic Sovereignty Council and Admiral Kethvar commanding the enforcement fleet, humanity has considered your ultimatum carefully. We understand that you view us as a potential threat based on the actions of other species you have encountered throughout galactic history. We understand that you believe containing us within our solar system is necessary for galactic stability. Dan could feel the tension from every human ship commander through the quantum link. This was the moment when everything would change. However, President Stone continued, we must respectfully decline your offer of protected status. Humanity chooses to determine its own path among the stars. We do not wish to be your enemies, but we will not submit to your rule. We are not, the devourers you fought 8,000 years ago, and we refuse to be judged by their crimes. Dan activated the fleet communication system. All ships, prepare for quantum fold emergence. Execute Operation Defiance on my command. Through his tactical display, Dan watched the Council fleet react to humanity's refusal. The alien ships began, spreading into attack formation, their weapon systems powering up in preparation for what their computers calculated would be a simple technological regression bombardment. Admiral Kethvar's response came through the alien communication system, his translated voice filled with what sounded like regret. President Stone, your species has chosen to reject Council protection. Technological regression protocols will now be implemented. Your industrial capacity will be eliminated, but your population will be preserved. We take no pleasure in this. Necessity. Now, Dan whispered. 200 human ships materialized from quantum fold space in perfect coordination around the Council fleet. The aliens found themselves surrounded by vessels they had never seen before, appearing from impossible angles with weapons already trained on their hulls. Captain Steve Morgan's Fast Attack Squadron emerged directly above the Council flagship, their ships moving in the swarming patterns that Dr. Rachel Stone's research had suggested would confuse alien neural networks. Instead of attacking in straight lines like civilized spacefaring species, the human ships moved like angry wasps, darting and weaving in patterns that made targeting impossible. Commander Julie Hansen's psychological warfare ships began broadcasting sensory overload signals designed to disrupt alien computer systems. Rapid flashing lights, discordant sound patterns, and electromagnetic pulses that created chaos in enemy sensors without actually causing permanent damage. Admiral Keth Var, President Stone's voice continued broadcasting from Earth. You are witnessing humanity's reply to your ultimatum. We do not wish to fight you, but we will not be contained. Withdraw your fleet and leave our solar system in peace. Dan could see the confusion spreading through the Council fleet as their advanced targeting computers failed to lock on to the seemingly random human movements. Ships that should have been easy targets flickered in and out of sensor range, appearing to violate basic laws of physics. The secret was the quantum consciousness coordination system. Every human ship moved in perfect harmony with every other ship, but their movements were guided by human intuition and creativity rather than computer algorithms. To alien sensors, it looked like chaos, but it was actually the most precise military coordination ever achieved. This is Admiral Keth Var to the human vessels, the alien commander transmitted. You are severely outgunned and outnumbered. Surrender immediately, and technological regression will be limited to military targets only. Lieutenant Chris Bell looked at Dan with a question in his eyes. Dan activated the fleet broadcast system and spoke words that would be heard throughout. Human space. Admiral Keth Var. This is Admiral Dan Parker of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your council has watched humanity for centuries and believes they understand us. You have seen our wars and our conflicts and concluded that we are too dangerous for space travel. But you have missed the most important thing about humanity. Dan paused, feeling the presence of 200 human crews through the quantum link, each one ready to die for the principle that intelligent beings should be free to choose their own destiny. We are not the devourers. We do not conquer worlds to consume their resources. We explore space because we dream of touching the stars. We are willing to fight you not because we are aggressive, but because freedom is worth any sacrifice. You offer us safety in a cage, but we choose danger and liberty. The human fleet began moving in patterns that looked like a complex dance to the alien observers. Ships that had been scattered across millions of kilometers of space suddenly converged on specific council vessels, then scattered again before the aliens could respond. Your weapons cannot hit targets that exist in quantum superposition, Dan continued. Your computers cannot predict decisions made by quantum consciousness. Your 12,000 years of galactic dominance have not prepared you to fight an enemy that thinks like we do. Admiral Keth Var's reply came after a long pause. Human Parker, you speak of principles that cost lives. Your species numbers in the billions. We could destroy your worlds from beyond your weapons range. Commander Julie Hansen's voice joined the broadcast. Admiral Keth Var, look at your tactical displays. We have not fired a single weapon at your ships, but we have demonstrated that we can target any vessel in your fleet at will. We could have destroyed your flagship in the first moments of this engagement, but we chose not to. It was true. The human fleet had maneuvered around the council ships like they were standing still, but they had been careful not to actually attack. This was a demonstration, not a battle. Captain Steve Morgan's squadron performed a complex maneuver that brought them within meters of the council flagship before disappearing back into quantum-fold space. We do not wish to be your enemies, Admiral, but we will not be your subjects either. Dan felt something change in the quantum consciousness link, a sense of completion, of rightness. Admiral Keth Var, humanity withdraws its offer of negotiation. We have shown you that we cannot be contained by force, and we will not submit to your authority by choice. The next time Council ships enter our solar system uninvited, we will defend ourselves. The Council fleet began to withdraw, their ships moving slowly back toward the edge of the solar system. Admiral Cathvar's final transmission was barely audible through the alien communication system. Species designation updated. Human. Status. Independent spacefaring civilization. Council advisory. Exercise extreme caution. President Stone's voice filled the communication channels one final time. To the Galactic Sovereignty Council and all civilizations that may be listening, humanity announces its presence among the stars. We come in peace, but we come as equals. We offer friendship to those who respect our independence and defend ourselves against those who would rule us. Dan felt the tension leave every human mind connected through the quantum link. They had done it. Against impossible odds, using technology the aliens could not understand and tactics they could not predict, humanity had earned its freedom to explore the galaxy. The Council enforcement fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, carrying news that would change the balance of power throughout the galaxy. After ages of silence, humanity had spoken, and their reply would be remembered for centuries to come. As the human fleet began its return to Earth, Dan thought about the future. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown civilizations, some friendly and some hostile. Humanity would face new challenges and new conflicts as they spread among the stars. Strategic Planning Director Colonel Alex Turner stood in the hidden command center buried deep beneath the lunar surface and watched humanity prepare for the impossible. 28 days had passed since the Council's ultimatum, and in 2 days, Earth would have to give its answer. But the answer humanity was preparing would not be the one the aliens expected. Project Defiance Status Report, Alex said to the assembled team leaders scattered across multiple screens throughout the solar system. Chief Naval Architect Sandra Kim's face appeared on the main display, transmitted from the secret shipyard, hidden in the asteroid belt beyond Pluto. Colonel, construction is proceeding faster than we thought possible. We now have 187 vessels completed, with the final 13 ships scheduled for completion within 18 hours. Alex felt a mixture of pride and terror. In less than a month, humanity had accomplished the largest construction project in its history, building an entire fleet in complete secrecy while maintaining the appearance of preparing to surrender to the aliens. Master Engineer Tony Brooks joined the communication from his position aboard the construction platform. The new ship designs are testing beyond all expectations. By incorporating the salvaged Zorathi technology from the destroyed monitoring station, we have achieved defensive capabilities that our simulations suggest might actually work against Council weapons. Dr. Rachel Stone appeared on another screen. From her research facility on Mars. Her discovery 3 weeks earlier had changed everything about humanity's plans. Colonel, I have more data on the quantum consciousness shielding effect. Human brain activity operates on frequencies that most alien species cannot perceive or predict. Our neural patterns are essentially invisible to their targeting computers. This was the breakthrough that had made Project Defiance possible. While the aliens could track human ships and weapons with perfect accuracy, they could not predict human tactical decisions or anticipate human strategy. It was like being able to see an enemy's weapons, but not being able to read their mind. What about the diplomatic front? Alex asked. Diplomatic Corps Director Benjamin Lee was maintaining communications with the Council from Earth. Colonel, I have been negotiating terms of surrender for the past week. The aliens believe we are preparing to hand over our quantum fold technology and submit to protected status. They have no idea what we are actually building out here. Alex nodded. Benjamin's negotiations were buying them precious time, while making the aliens believe that humanity was resigned to defeat. Any new intelligence on their fleet? Commander Ryan Clark answered from his intelligence post on Mars. The Council Enforcement Fleet consists of 47 vessels, led by a Zorathi commander called Admiral Kethvar. Based on our analysis of their communication patterns, they expect to encounter no resistance. They are planning what they call a technological regression operation if we refuse their terms. Alex thought about those words. Technological regression. The aliens plan to bomb humanity back to the Stone Age while keeping them alive as specimens. The clinical coldness of it made his anger burn hotter. Fleet status report, Alex requested. Fleet Admiral Dan Parker's weathered face appeared on the screen. He was aboard the command ship Defiance, hidden with the rest of the human fleet in the darkness beyond Pluto's orbit. Colonel, we have 200 ships crewed and ready. Every volunteer understands that we may not be coming home from this engagement. Alex had been amazed by the response when they had called for volunteers to crew the secret fleet. Tens of thousands of humans had stepped forward, knowing they would be fighting an enemy with superior technology and centuries of military experience. They had come from every nation on Earth, from the moon colonies, from the Mars settlements, united by the simple determination that humanity would not submit to alien rule. Dr. Rachel Stone's research had provided the foundation for their strategy, but it was the human crews that would have to make it work. Admiral, are the crews ready for the new tactical systems? Colonel, I have never seen anything like it. The quantum consciousness interfaces allow perfect coordination between ships, without any electronic communication. The aliens can intercept our radio signals, but they cannot read human thoughts. Our fleet can operate as a single organism, while remaining completely unpredictable to enemy sensors. The tactical advantage was theoretical, but promising. Human consciousness operated on quantum frequencies that allowed instant communication between properly equipped individuals. A fleet of human ships could coordinate their movements with perfect precision while appearing completely random to alien observers. Master Engineer Tony Brooks added more technical details. The new weapon systems are based on human psychological warfare principles. Instead of trying to match alien firepower, we are using tactics designed to confuse and disorient their neural networks. Rapid pattern changes, unpredictable movement, algorithms, sensory overload techniques. Alex smiled grimly. Leave it to humans to try to win a space battle by giving the enemy a headache. What about the quantum fold drive technology? Alex asked. Sandra Kim answered. Every ship in the fleet is equipped with the latest drive systems. We can appear anywhere in the solar system instantly, and the aliens will not be able to predict where we will emerge from fold space. This was perhaps their greatest advantage. The aliens expected humans to surrender their faster-than-light technology, not to perfect it and use it in combat. Human ships could literally appear from nowhere and disappear again before the enemy could react. Dr. Rachel Stone had more information from her research. Colonel, I have been analyzing the psychological profiles the aliens have compiled about us. They understand human aggression and human technology, but they completely misunderstand human cooperation and sacrifice. Their models assume we will act in our own self-interest when threatened. What do you mean? Alex asked. They expect our leaders to surrender to save themselves and our military to fight in predictable patterns to minimize losses. They cannot comprehend the idea that humans might sacrifice everything for abstract principles like freedom and independence. Alex thought about the volunteers crewing the fleet ships, knowing they might die to protect Earth's right to reach for the stars. The aliens had studied human history but had completely missed the most important thing about humanity. Benjamin Lee reported from Earth. Colonel, President Stone is scheduled to give our final answer to the Council in 48 hours. She has asked me to confirm that the fleet will be in position. Admiral Parker answered immediately. We will be ready. The moment Earth refuses the Council's ultimatum, we will implement Operation Defiance. Alex looked around the command center at the faces of humans who had worked without sleep for a month to prepare for this moment. Engineers and scientists and soldiers who had built an impossible fleet in secret while the rest of humanity went about their daily lives, unaware that their future hung in the balance. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2 days, we find out if we can earn humanity's place among the stars or if we will be forced to live as protected pets in an alien zoo. Either way, we will face that future as free humans making our own choices. The communication screens went dark as the team leaders returned to their final preparations. Alex remained in the command center, thinking about what the next few days would bring. Project Defiance was the largest gamble in human history, betting everything on the belief that freedom was worth any price. In 48 hours, the Council would receive humanity's answer to their ultimatum. But the real answer would not come from words. It would come from 200 human ships emerging from quantum-fold space to deliver a message that no translation computer would be needed to understand. Humanity refused to be contained. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez walked into the United Earth Assembly Chamber in Geneva and felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Representatives from every nation on Earth filled the seats, their faces tense with anticipation. In the center of the room sat a device that humanity had never seen before, delivered by an unmanned alien probe just 6 hours earlier. The device hummed with energy and cast strange shadows that seemed to move independently of any light source. President Victoria Stone stood at the main podium, her usually confident demeanor replaced by obvious concern. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 hours ago this device activated and requested to speak with Earth's leadership. We are about to receive humanity's first official communication from the Galactic Sovereignty Council. Elena took her seat in the front row next to Defense Secretary Paul Martinez and Scientific Advisor Dr. Carl Hughes. Behind them sat General Susan Wright, her military uniform crisp despite the early morning hour. The device in the center of the room began to glow brighter, and a voice filled the chamber. The voice was completely emotionless, clearly generated by some kind of advanced computer translation system. Species designation human, planetary designation Sol 3. You are now in direct communication with the Galactic Sovereignty Council. I am authorized to speak on behalf of the Ethereal Collective, senior members of the Council, and guardians of galactic stability for the past 12,000 years. Elena felt her mouth go dry. 12,000 years. These aliens had been managing galactic affairs since before human civilization had invented agriculture. Your species has exceeded permitted technological development parameters, the voice continued. Our monitoring stations report that you have achieved stable, faster-than-light drive technology despite explicit instructions to remain within your birth system. This represents a clear violation of galactic development protocols established for the safety of all species. Defense Secretary Martinez leaned forward in his seat. Elena could see his hands clenched into fists on his lap. The Galactic Sovereignty Council has studied your species for over 4,000 years. Your history demonstrates consistent patterns of aggressive expansion, resource exploitation, and destruction of competing life forms. Your own homeworld bears the scars of your environmental carelessness. Your social structures remain primitive and conflict-prone. Your technological advancement has far outpaced your ethical and social development. Dr. Hughes scribbled notes furiously while the alien voice listed humanity's failures. Elena wanted to object, to point out human achievements in art and science and cooperation, but she knew this was not a conversation. This was a judgment. Based on this evidence, the Council has determined that your species poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability if permitted to develop interstellar travel capabilities. Therefore, the Council presents the following ultimatum. The device projected a holographic display showing technical specifications that made Dr. Hughes gasp in surprise. You will immediately cease all faster-than-light research and development. You will surrender all quantum fold drive technology and related research data to Council representatives. You will accept Council oversight of your technological development and submit to designation as a protected developing species. Elena felt something cold settle in her stomach. Protected developing species. It sounded like a zoo classification. Under protected status, your species will be permitted to develop within your birth system under Council guidance. You will receive technological assistance appropriate to your current development level. Your aggressive tendencies will be monitored and corrected through approved social conditioning programs. In time, if your species demonstrates sufficient maturity, you may be permitted limited supervised contact with other galactic civilizations. General Wright was shaking her head slowly. Elena could practically see the military calculations running through the general's mind, trying to figure out how to fight an enemy with 12,000 years of technological advancement. Alternatively, the voice continued, and Elena heard the threat in its mechanical tone. Refusal to accept protected status will result in immediate implementation of technological regression protocols. Your industrial capacity will be reduced to pre-spaceflight levels through selective orbital bombardment. Your population will be preserved, but your ability to threaten galactic stability will be permanently eliminated. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives shouted questions and protests, but the alien device ignored them completely. You have 30 Earth days to provide your response. During this period, any attempt to leave your solar system or to hide faster-than-light capable vessels will be considered an act of aggression and will trigger immediate technological regression protocols. A Council enforcement fleet is currently en route to your system to ensure compliance with these terms. President Stone managed to make herself heard over the chaos. We demand the right to present our case to the full Council. Humanity deserves to be judged by our achievements as well as our failures. The alien voice was silent for a long moment. When it resumed speaking, Elena thought she detected something that might have been amusement. Your case has already been presented, human. Stone. Our monitoring stations have observed your species continuously for centuries. We have detailed records of your wars, your environmental destruction, your social failures. We have also observed your occasional acts of cooperation and creativity. The Council's decision is based on complete information. But you have never spoken to us directly, Elena said, standing up from her seat. You have judged us based on observation alone. How can you understand humanity without ever communicating with humans? Your behavioral patterns are consistent with those of 17 other species that the Council has encountered throughout galactic history. Aggressive expansion-oriented civilizations that achieve interstellar travel before achieving social maturity inevitably destabilize entire regions of space. The Council learned this lesson at great cost over 8,000 years ago. Dr. Hughes stood up next. What happened 8,000 years ago? A species much like yours called the Devourers achieved faster-than-light travel while still maintaining aggressive territorial expansion drives. They consumed the resources of 47 star systems and destroyed 12 peaceful civilizations before the Council was able to stop them. The war lasted 3 centuries and required the complete annihilation of the Devourer species to end the threat. Elena felt the blood drain from her face. The aliens were not just concerned about humanity spreading through space. They were terrified that humans would become the next Devourers. The Council will not permit another such catastrophe, the voice concluded. Your response is required in 30 days. This communication is now terminated. The device went dark and silent. The chamber remained quiet for a long moment as the representatives absorbed what they had heard. President Stone finally broke the silence. The emergency session will convene immediately. All department heads, military commanders, and scientific advisors report to the secure briefing room in 1 hour. As Elena walked out of the chamber with the other officials, she thought about the choice facing humanity. Submit to alien oversight and give up the dream of exploring the galaxy, or resist and face bombardment back to the Stone Age. But there was something about the alien ultimatum that bothered her. The voice had mentioned 17 other species, with similar patterns, but only one had actually become a galactic threat. What had happened to the other 16? Had they all been forced into protected status, or had some of them found a third option? In the secure briefing room, President Stone addressed the gathered leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, we face the most critical decision in human history. We can submit to alien control. We can fight a war we cannot win, or we can find another way. Defense Secretary Martinez spoke first. Madam President, their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Our military analysis suggests that fighting them directly would be suicide. General Wright disagreed. Sir, with respect, we have not even begun to explore human advantages. We know they have difficulty predicting individual human behavior. We know they have been interfering with our research, which suggests they fear our technological progress. Perhaps they are not as invulnerable as they want us to believe. Dr. Hughes was studying the technical data the aliens had displayed. The quantum fold drive technology they want us to surrender represents a fundamental breakthrough in physics. If we give that up, we may never get another chance to reach the stars. Elena found herself thinking about the 23 other species the aliens had mentioned. Madam President, I think we need more information before we decide anything. The Council said they have dealt with 17 other species like us, but only one became a threat. I want to know what happened to the others. President Stone nodded. Dr. Hughes, can we establish communication with the alien device again? I think so, Madam President, but they made it clear they considered the discussion closed. Then we better find a way to reopen it, President Stone said. Because in 30 days, we have to give them an answer that determines the future of every human being who will ever live. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the main briefing room of Mars Orbital Station Alpha and looked at the faces around the table. These were the best military and scientific minds that Earth had to offer, and they all looked as worried as she felt. The message that Captain Morrison had discovered was just the beginning. In the 3 weeks since Terra's Pride had returned to Earth orbit, the investigation teams had found things that changed everything humans thought they knew about their place in the universe. Intelligence Officer Commander Ryan Clark activated the holographic display in the center of the table. Points of light appeared, scattered throughout the outer solar system. Ladies and gentlemen, these are confirmed artificial structures. We have found 17 monitoring stations positioned at strategic points from Mars' orbit to beyond Pluto. Dr. Marcus Webb, the head of Earth's Xenobiology Research Program, leaned forward to study the display. How long have they been there, Commander? Based on the wear patterns on their outer hulls and the accumulation of cosmic dust, our best estimate is between 200 and 300 years. They are extremely well hidden, using some kind of stealth technology that makes them nearly invisible to our sensors. Dr. Helen Burke, the linguist who had first decoded the alien message, raised her hand. Have we been able to intercept any communications from these stations? Ryan nodded grimly. That is the disturbing part. They are constantly transmitting data, detailed information about Earth's population centers, military installations, technological development, and resource distribution. They know everything about us. Admiral Sullivan felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of everything, Commander? They have tracked the movement of every major military unit for the past 50 years. They know the location of every nuclear weapon, every space facility, every major government installation. They have detailed biological scans of major population centers. They know how many people live in each city on Earth. Dr. Webb was studying the technical readouts. The level of sophistication here is incredible. These stations are using technology centuries ahead of anything we have. The power sources alone represent a breakthrough we cannot even understand. Chief Engineer Nora Phillips spoke up from her position at the end of the table. Admiral, we have tried to approach one of the stations with a stealth probe. The results were not encouraging. The holographic display changed to show a recording from the probe's final moments. The small human craft approached what looked like empty space. Then suddenly alarms began sounding. A sleek alien structure materialized, its hull gleaming with unknown metals. Energy weapons appeared and destroyed the probe in seconds. The station self-destructed immediately after destroying our probe, Nora continued. But we managed to get some data in the few seconds before it was destroyed. The technology is definitely alien, and it belongs to a species the computer systems identified as Zorathi. Ryan added more information to the holographic display. Cross-referencing with the original message, the Zorathi appear to be junior, members of this Galactic Sovereignty Council. They have been assigned to monitor humanity's development and report back to their superiors. Dr. Burke was reading through the intercepted data files. There is something else disturbing here. Look at these research interference patterns. She highlighted sections of the display. For the past 30 years, human scientists have been making breakthrough discoveries in faster-than-light travel, only to have their research fail at critical moments. Equipment malfunctions, computer errors, missing data files. You are saying they have been sabotaging our research? Admiral Sullivan asked. Not sabotaging exactly, but certainly interfering. They have been slowing down our technological development, probably to buy time while they decide what to do about us. Chief Strategic Analyst Colonel Alex Turner had been quiet throughout the briefing, but now he spoke. Admiral, there is something else we need to consider. 3 months ago, Dr. Peterson's team at the Luna Research Station achieved a stable quantum fold drive. Since then, monitoring station activity has increased dramatically. Ryan brought up another display showing energy transmission patterns. The stations have been sending high-priority communications deeper into space almost daily since our faster-than-light breakthrough. Whatever message they are sending, they consider it urgent. Dr. Webb was looking through the biological data the aliens had collected. They have incredibly detailed information about human genetics, psychology, and social behavior. Look at this analysis of human conflict patterns. He highlighted a section of alien text that the computers had translated. They consider humans to be inherently aggressive and unpredictable. They classify us as a potential expansion threat. A threat? Admiral Sullivan almost laughed. We have barely managed to build a few research stations on Mars and the Moon. How could we possibly threaten a galactic civilization? Colonel Turner answered her question. Because we are developing faster-than-light travel, and they know human history. They have watched us spread across Earth through exploration and conquest. They probably assume we will do the same thing in space. Dr. Burke was studying more of the translated alien communications. There is something here about automated defense protocols. If humans attempt to leave the solar system with faster-than-light capable ships, the monitoring stations will activate something called a containment response. What kind of containment response? Nora asked. The translation is unclear, but it involves a much larger alien presence coming to our solar system to enforce the restrictions they mentioned in their original message. Admiral Sullivan stood up and walked to the large viewing window that looked out over Mars. The red planet stretched below them, with its small human colonies visible as tiny lights on the surface. 3 generations of humans had worked to build those colonies, dreaming of the day when humanity would spread to the stars. Now it seemed that dream was about to become a nightmare. How long do we have? She asked. Ryan consulted his data. Based on the increased communication activity and the range of their faster-than-light communication systems, we estimate that whatever response is coming will arrive in approximately 6 months. 6 months to prepare for contact with a hostile, alien civilization that has technology centuries ahead of ours, Colonel Turner said quietly. Dr. Webb was still studying the biological data. Admiral, there is one thing here that might be important. The aliens seem to have difficulty understanding human decision-making processes. Their psychological profiles of us are detailed but incomplete. They understand our technology and our history, but they seem confused by human unpredictability. What do you mean? Admiral Sullivan asked. They can predict large-scale human behavior patterns, but they have trouble understanding individual human choices. Their analysis keeps mentioning human irrationality and illogical decision-making as factors that make us difficult to control. Nora. Phillips looked up from her technical readouts. Admiral, I think I know why our quantum fold research kept failing. These monitoring stations have been using some kind of interference field to disrupt our experiments. But now that we know they are there, we might be able to shield our research from their interference. Admiral Sullivan felt something like hope beginning to grow in her chest. The aliens were powerful and had been watching humans for centuries, but they were not all-knowing. They had weaknesses, gaps in their understanding that humans might be able to exploit. Colonel Turner, I want you to begin immediate preparations for a system-wide defense analysis. Commander Clark, continue monitoring the alien stations, but do not approach them again. Dr. Webb, I want a complete study of everything we can learn about alien psychology from their communications. Dr. Burke, keep working on their language and try to understand their military protocols. Commander Phillips, I want you to begin shielding our most important research facilities from alien observation. As the meeting broke up and the officers and scientists hurried to their new assignments, Admiral Sullivan remained at the viewing window. Somewhere out there beyond Mars, alien watchers were preparing to deliver humanity's fate to their galactic masters. But humans were no longer the primitive species that had been judged unworthy of space travel. They had learned to reach for the stars and they were not going to let ancient alien bureaucrats decide their future for them. The next 6 months would determine whether humanity earned its place among the stars or found itself trapped forever in the solar system of its birth. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the dark screen in front of him and felt something cold move through his chest. The exploration ship Terra's Pride floated in the empty space near Jupiter's largest moon, and everything seemed wrong. The energy. Readings made no sense. His navigator, Lisa Grant, had found the signals 3 hours ago, and now they all sat in the control room trying to understand what they had discovered. "Run it again," Jake said to his communications officer, Amy Watson. She was young and smart, fresh from the Earth Academy, and her hands moved quickly over her controls. The speakers filled with static, then something that might have been voices speaking in a language no human had ever heard. Engineer Pete Collins leaned forward in his chair. "Captain, those energy patterns are not natural. Something made them." His voice was quiet, but Jake could hear the excitement underneath. Pete had been working on ships for 20 years, and he knew the difference between cosmic background noise and artificial signals. Amy looked up from her station. "Sir, I think I can clean this up more. The signal is old, really old, like thousands of years old." Her fingers danced over the controls, and slowly the static began to clear. What came through the speakers made everyone in the room go silent. T-Cor. Voice was mechanical, translated by some kind of computer, but the words were clear. "Greetings to the species of the third planet orbiting the star you call Sol. You have been observed by the Galactic Sovereignty Council for 1,700 of your years. After careful study, we have determined that your species is not yet ready for contact with the greater galactic community." Jake felt his heart start beating faster. Lisa grabbed his arm, her eyes wide. Amy sat frozen at her station. Pete was writing down every word as fast as he could. The voice continued. "Your species shows dangerous levels of aggression, environmental destruction, and social instability. You wage wars against your own kind over resources and beliefs. You poison your birth world and show no concern for other life forms. Until you achieve evolutionary maturity, you must remain within your birth system." The signal crackled with interference, then became clear again. "These coordinates contain the locations of 847 star systems under Council protection. Any attempt by your species to expand beyond the Sol system will result in immediate intervention. You will receive periodic updates on your development status. This message will repeat every 50 of your years until you demonstrate sufficient progress." Then silence. Amy tried to bring the signal back, but it was gone. Jake stood up slowly and walked to the main viewing screen. Jupiter hung in space like a giant orange ball, its red spots staring back at him like an angry eye. Somewhere out there, aliens had been watching Earth for thousands of years. They knew about humans, about their wars and problems, and they had decided that humans were not good enough to join the rest of the galaxy. "Amy, get me a direct line to Earth Command," Jake said. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. "Priority 1, encrypt everything." While Amy worked to establish the connection, Pete was busy analyzing the signal. "Captain, this transmission used technology I have never seen before. The energy signature suggests it was broadcast from at least 40 light-years away, but it reached us with perfect clarity. They would need power sources beyond anything we can imagine." Lisa was studying the coordinates that had come with the message. "Jake, look at this." She put the star map on the main screen. Hundreds of red dots appeared, showing star systems throughout their local region of the galaxy. "If this is real, If these are all alien worlds, then we are surrounded. Every direction we might travel. There are already established civilizations. The connection to Earth came through, and Admiral Kate Sullivan's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired, which was unusual for the tough woman who commanded Earth's space defense forces. Captain Morrison, please tell me you have good news. Admiral, I wish I did. Jake quickly explained what they had found. As he spoke, he watched Sullivan's expression change from tired to alert to deeply worried. Send us everything immediately, Sullivan ordered. Every bit of data, every analysis. I am pulling you back to Earth orbit right now. We need to get our best people looking at this. Admiral, there is more, Pete said, stepping forward. I detected the transmission because it was incredibly powerful, but I think there have been others. Weaker signals, regular patterns. I think they have been sending us messages for a very long time. Sullivan was quiet for a long moment. How long, Commander Collins? Based on the signal decay patterns and power requirements, possibly thousands of years. We just never had the technology to receive them properly. After they cut the connection to Earth, the crew of Terra's Pride sat in the quiet control room and thought about what they had learned. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they were not alone, but they also knew they were considered dangerous and primitive by the rest of the galaxy. Jake thought about Earth, about the billions of people going about their daily lives with no idea that alien eyes had been watching them for centuries. He thought about human history, about all the wars and conflicts that the aliens had mentioned. Were they right? Were humans too violent and destructive to be trusted with space travel? But then he thought about other things. He thought about humans who risked their lives to save strangers. He thought about scientists who spent their entire careers trying to heal diseases and explore the universe. He thought about artists and teachers and farmers who made life better for everyone around them. Humans could be violent, but they could also be incredibly brave and caring. Amy broke the silence. Captain, I keep thinking about something. They said we would receive updates every 50 years. That means they are still watching us. They probably know we found this message. Lisa nodded. And they probably know about our new faster-than-light drives. We have been testing them all over the outer system. Pete looked up from his instruments. Captain, if they have been watching us this whole time, they must have monitoring stations somewhere in our solar system. Technology powerful enough to observe Earth from nearby would leave energy signatures. Jake made his decision. Change course. We are going to search every asteroid, every moon, every piece of space junk between here and Earth. If these aliens have been watching us, we are going to find out how. As Terra's Pride began its new mission, Jake wondered what they would discover next. The universe had suddenly become a much more dangerous and complicated place. Earth was no longer alone, but they were also no longer free to explore the galaxy, as they had dreamed. Somewhere out there, ancient alien civilizations had decided that humans were not worthy of joining them among the stars. The question now was, what humans would do about that decision.